Hey there guys, what's going on? Agent Not So Lazy here. So we are heading into 10 years of Warframe as I'm recording this video. And being a long time player of Warframe for over 6 years now, I thought to share some of the changes that happened over the time I played this game that changed the way I play Warframe forever. This is purely my own opinion. So yeah, if I feel like I missed something or if you think I missed something, feel free to drop it down into the comments. And that's all. So yeah, and also I wanted to show one of the screenshots that's like the oldest picture I have saved in my PC, and that is of me when I started playing Warframe during the 8th anniversary or 7th, I don't remember exactly. Warframe bought something called as the Warframe Wayback, where it showed you the stats of your old profile and stuff. So yeah, I used to go by a different name back then. And yeah, you can see Necros, Nidus, and freaking this guy is here. Excalibur Umbra, yeah. So I started playing when Excalibur Umbra update was released. That was like doing a sacrifice. So yeah, with that being said, I would like to show the opinions or share with them with you on how the things that have changed the way I play Warframe forever to this day. So number one in the list, the first thing in my head came was the Fortuna update with the open world boss fight mechanics, Profit Taker, and the Exploiter orbs. Man, when the Fortuna update landed, people, I remember complaining a lot about how the difficulty was. But for me, it didn't matter because, yeah, power creep is a thing even back then, and it was only worrisome for the new players because they didn't have any proper mods on, and the moment they go out, they see a freaking level 50 corpus crewman and get their hand clapped. That's what happened. So yeah, it was the second very well. What is this? The second for open world expansion for Warframe, and knowing how the Plains of Eidolon was launched, they had a lot of experience going into the second one. The map was 4 times large, and a lot of things happened. It also includes a lot of its own mechanics, like the open world threat mechanic, which is that small corpus icon you see next to the minimap, and it goes up to the 4 levels, which also is player controllable. Like if you break the beacon or leave the area, it goes down, or if you stay in the area for too long, it goes up, which also made it possible to farm for the things called as toroids, which was needed for many of the things like the Amsan, the Garuda, Hill Train, and I don't remember how so many things. And it also introduced one of my favorite features for the pastime in Warframe, that's the open world preservation, which was also later added into the Plains of Eidolon, if I don't mistake, because it didn't launch with Plains of Eidolon and it was later added. And it also gave us access to this cute little floofs in the game. Pretty cute, eh? Then the second thing, the I still can't forget to this day that it changed how we play Warframe. The rise of the viral status, baby. Anyone remember how the corrosive used to be the king in the past, where you could remove like 99.99%, and if you had corrosive projection, you could get rid of the armor entirely? Yes, that was corrosive back in the day. Everyone running freaking corrosive projection and corrosive slash builds. Literally, just strip the armor of enemies just within a blink. And parried with like something which has a very fast firing, like Tibron Prime, Stardom of Prime from back then. The weapon is gonna be shredding, and I remember getting the weapon called as the Zenith back then, which had the way to like wallbang enemies. I just get some headshots, they die of the slash. No need to worry of getting face to face, just hide in a corner and snipe them away. And then the next biggest change, the Melee 3.0 rework. Boy oh boy, this thing packed a freaking big punch, and if I want to be honest, this was the biggest change I have seen in Warframe since I started playing. With like, it was introduced I think so along with the Wukong's rework, if I don't mistake, but my memory may be a bit hazy because it was like shown in dev stream along with like the normal sword stances changed, which made the combos really easy compared to what it was like in past. If you have played anything called as the fighting games like Mortal Kombat or what is it called, the Injustice, you will remember that you can string combo chain. So Warframe had the same mechanic for melee, where you could like block combo, forward block combo and stuff, but you couldn't get out of the combo until the combo was entirely done. So yeah, with this update, they made it so that you could leave the combo mid or like mix and match the combo. It also changed how the combo stack multiplier worked. In the past, like if you had even like over 500 hits, you would be still at like 4.5 combos. But the with the new update, they made it so that it's scaled up by one multiplier every 20 combos. So yeah, but it was capped, exception of one weapon like Venka, which had a cap of 13 multiplier while others had a 12. It also removed the in-game mechanic called as channeling, and it was later like replaced with I think so heavy attack at the same time, which I'm still personally not a fan of to this very day. So if you don't know what channeling is, it's basically you spend a portion of your energy and you can boost your damage for the melee, similar to how currently Excalibur's Exalted Blade works. But instead of like having a constant damage, you had to like charge it up and then use it all at once, and it would consume within like one hit or two. Which also I think so reworked many of the older mods which use channeling like Killing Blow and Focus channeling to be more of like heavy attack channeling and heavy attack damage, if I don't mistake. And it suited the new heavy attack and made a lot of new mechanic and mix up for the games how it worked then. Back then I personally didn't like it. To this day I think so I want an option to like toggle between heavy attacks and normal attacks so I don't need to freaking spam other buttons other than the melee. I know it's coming a bit biased. I know people can say that go change your keybinds and swap them, but I know I like using normal light attacks sometimes. So that also made the mods like Blood Rush, Weeping Woods most staple in the builds, which were previous I think so Acolyte only drops and very hard to obtain. And later these drops were added into the future update of Warframe, which was called the Heart of Deimos, where they literally made it as like open world bounty drop from stage 3 or 4. I don't remember exactly. I have to go back and check it once more. Then the Acolytes were also made into a mini boss sooner or later with the introduction of Steel Path, which is one of my upcoming entries in this. With also Melee 3.0, they also made a big changes to channeling with the heavy attack, which made some of the powerful weapons even more powerful, like the Fragor Prime and the Grand Prime. Yes, the Grand Prime can be used for heavy attacks. I have used it myself. And yes, Grand Prime, I know it's not currently one of the good weapons, but in the past when it was really good. Like you can literally call yourself a Beyblade of Doom if you use a Grand Prime. And they had to nerf the stance as well. I remember that. Other than that, it also introduced another quality of life feature like auto blocking, where if you are using a gun and you press your melee key, you switch your melee, but if you don't in the past what you used to do is you had to switch your melee entirely, then you had to use your right click to block. But now you can just press your E while you're in mid fight, you switch your melee, you block the attacks, go back to your guns or continue using your melee with your E or whatever you want to do. And that was a good thing, but if you are like OG, like still transitioning to the new feature, you could do what you could do was press and hold your F key by default. That was the keybind, and you could use the right click to manually block like just in the past. And man, I remember doing this with Excalibur, but yeah, I used to be a self-proclaimed Excalibur back then as well. Then comes the fourth entry in my list. That's the arbitration. This mode was a good charge for when it came out, where you got only like one life, you need to actually work with your team and complete the objective. So yeah, pretty sounds tough according to my 2020 self, I think. So arbitration drones were those basically things we all just like take a AoE gun these days and pop off. But back in the day, they were like immune to damage. So if you were like a Siren main back then, you'd know that your arbitration was a worst nightmare back then because you can just use your miasma and clear a room, but if they were protected by the drone, they're not gonna take every single inch of damage. Neither does the drone. But there's one complaint I have about the drones, that if the drone explodes, it also kills the enemies for some freaking reason to this day, which is like, whatever. And that it also introduced one more mechanic, which is love-hated by every new player at this point, I think. There's the requirement to complete every mission in your start chart to gain access to arbitration. Yes, I'm looking at you, Zariman. You freaking log arbitration for I don't know how so many new players. And yeah, you have to complete those new nodes again if you are an old player to get access to arbitration, because even if that planet doesn't have any nodes for arbitration, you still need to clear them for some reason. I don't know why. And at last, it also gave us the galvanized mod set for every weapon that increased the damage for every 10 of whoever used guns a lot. This was also around the time when I think so they were nerfing mods like Condition Overload and what was the Blood Rush Whipping Wounds as well. Because those things, like, imagine if you're using a weapon with like low crit chance, yet it deals a lot of red crit damage, you know something is wrong. And I don't know why is my phone ringing. I hope it doesn't affect the recording. So yeah, uh, oh my god, I remember this change, and like people were so pissed, like I can't deal red crit damage, wow, and whatever. So yeah, arbitration store got updated because I remember it only had like Arcwing's Raven mod and the Stans, Ayatan Stars, and whatever. What was the other one? Grendel in the store. But later it also introduced this set of mods, which are basically upgrade over the basic mods which you have, like for multi-shot, crit chance, and crit chance in specific to be crit chance with headshot. And the last one being status chance mod being buffed a lot, which also introduced the condition overloads mechanic of 40% extra damage to guns. Yeah, for every status type. And it's stacked twice, if I don't mistake, to this date. So yeah, every gun had a lot of damage boost. It was freaking amazing. And that's all about arbitration, I guess. Next in the entry I have is Steel Path. Oh boy, I still have a love-hate relationship with Steel Path to this day, but it's my default play mode at this point because, you know, power creep. If I just go to start chat at this point, if I just bullet jump, the enemies are gonna die. Even at like Sedna, I think. Yeah, so Steel Path gave me option to like kill enemies with guns again. It introduced the mini bosses from the limited event of I think so the Stalkers event. I don't remember the name exactly because I wasn't a part when this thing initially came out. So they made this mini bosses of the Stalkers as the mini bosses of the mission for every time gate or whatever it was. And if you're off guard, you're gonna be paying heavily if that is the malice and violence as the accolade this point. Those guys will kill you within a blink of an eye. No cap. And then what does Shield Path bring? Other than the increased difficulty, it also gives chance the player for the increase in drop chance of loots and mod. But the enemy's armor and every other stat would be increased by 100% and the base level goes by 100. It also gave us access to the Teshan Steel Path supplies, which gave us the much needed things like Umbra Forma, Kuva, relics, and much more. It introduced weapon arcanes, which were like arcanes were dropped by the acolytes while the adapters could be purchased from Teshan. It also allowed the players to like drop off the basic damage mods like Serration, Hornet Strike, and Point Blank. I know some of the OG players already didn't use the mods when they had the anti-faction mods, but I remember some of the players using this on top of the anti-faction, which like had a lot of like imagine using heavy caliber and Serration in your primary, but also using something like a cleansed mod on top of it. If I'm like just making a point. So yeah, it also freed up a spot, but imagine now you have something like what? Primary Merciless, Primary Dexterity, or same with secondaries. We can just drop off this Sedation and whatever it was, the other mods of the same type instead to gain more damage. Like imagine using only 165% damage with those mods and instead getting 300% damage boost. Everyone's gonna take the latter, but the thing is, this thing is still locked by a Steel Path. You need to clear Angels of Zariman to complete the Zariman, then you get access to Steel Path, which is still a bit of a concern in my opinion. D, please fix it, come on. Everyone should have access to a Steel Path. Like, imagine if you complete the entire planet, you should get access to a Steel Path for the planet. I think so this would be a much more better option as of right now. Because Steel Path is like, you are time gated at least like around let me do a quick math. Around like a month of at least active gameplay. Because you need to complete some of the basic quests, you need to get a Necramech, you need to build your Railjack, you need to find a clan, which is not an active requirement now because you can do it from the relays. So yeah, Steel Path, I have a hate relationship because of the gating it has done to the new players, and many of my friends quit just by hearing the requirement, as far as I remember. On that, I think so. Steel Path was one of the greatest addition, in my opinion, to this very date. And at last, one among the most favorite community features, I think at least, is the Kuvalich and Sister of Pavos updates, because this didn't come as once, but it came as like a multi-part. If you are new to Warframe, if you didn't know about this, so Kuvalich was the first one to launch as the game's linchpin mechanism, where you could get your in-game nemesis, which would provide you with like either an upgrade for your existing Kuva weapon. I mean, not Kuva, but Grenius weapon, or get an entirely unique weapon like the Kuva Brahma, Kuva Chakur, and the Kuva Shield Egg, if I don't mistake. These three were like really higher stuff compared to the normal weapons like Karak, which got a Kuva upgrade, Comb, which also got a Kuva upgrade, and it also gave us access to something like Arcwing weapons, because Gravimag was also in the game by this point, so you could use them. Like, I think, so in my opinion, the best Kuva weapon to this date from Grenia's side is still gotta be Kuva Brahma, in my opinion, because of the how fast the explosion goes. And that then they also introduced the Sister of Powers, which is like the corpus variant for the same thing. But core weapons, in my opinion, had improved a lot over the past, because when you got the initial lich, if I don't remember, you didn't get to see the weapon till you got back to your ship. So they added as a feature to do that. Then they did the option for fusion of carrying over the formas, like if you had two forma in one and single forma in the other, because you did it by accident sometime. So you could carry over the third forma to your first build and have three formas in your first one now. So yeah, it also allowed you to like choose between the substat roles now, if I don't mistake, with the same using the balance fusion system. Then they also added a soft bash to remove the already shown weapon that you got in the previous rolls of the hunt, both for Kuva and as the Tenet variants. If you are unlucky, you're gonna have to do all the weapons rolls. If you're lucky, you're gonna get in within the first run. And I guess that's all about Warframes in the past. I really enjoyed making this video, and hope you did to watch this thing. Like, what are the features I think changed the way Warframe was played forever? I know there are a lot of features which have been recently introduced, which are noteworthy, like the Arcane Shard system, Demios's open world system, which I personally don't like, and then the last is the Railjack, which was a freaking mess when it launched. And I think so the impact these things had on the game are not as great as the six things I've mentioned right now. But everything has its own impact, and I think this six took the cake for me. With that being said, I think so I will take my leave for now, and hope you had a fun time listening to the memory lanes stuff for me, celebrating 10 years of Warframe while I have played this game for only 6 years. Hope you have a nice day. Till then, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace the hell out.